Welcome, everybody, to the Synapse Philosophy Group. We are on D.D. Palmer's 1914 book, The Chiropractor. We're on page 5 in the middle. And we have been talking about and breaking down and understanding what was D.D. getting to and what did he want us to convey to us, generations to come, the future of chiropractic. You know, we're more than 100 years since this was published, and it is more powerful now than ever, I feel. So we're right in the middle. We're at the knowledge and philosophy, and I'm going to read that in just a second. And I just want to acknowledge everybody on here. I'm Haig John, and I'm the host of the Synapse Philosophy Group. We've been doing it for a couple of years. We have Alan Lichter, we have Dr. Barry Hobbs, Carol Crystal, and today we have Steve Shargell. And we've had a lot of people come and go. We've got a good core group of us. And, I want to acknowledge you because, the people that listen and the people that are on, you're the 1% really of the 1%. This is what chiropractic is based upon, the philosophy. And that is the roadmap. If you don't know where you're going or where you've been, if you don't know where you've been, you're not going to know where you're going. You're going to make it up as you go along. And that's what's happened a lot in our profession. And this is our syllabus. This is our basic understanding of what D.D. Palmer was conveying to us in the future. And even this podcast, we have, close to 8,000 to 10,000 people a year, minutes watched a year. And so this is getting out to the world. It'll be hundreds and hundreds of hours as the years go by and as chiropractic philosophy and acumen increase. So I just want to acknowledge all of you, all the people that listen, because, the people deserve it. The humans of this earth deserve it. And that's what D.D. Palmer was saying. Whether it's your religious duty, it's at least your moral obligation to go out and serve the people and have a consciousness. So I wanted to start with that and give you all thanks. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart too. So are we ready to go, everybody?
Yep.
All right. I'm going to start and we'll probably hand off a little bit. Maybe we don't each take a little bit turn to read. There's a lot going on here. We're about to get to Dr. Jim Atkinson, which is exciting. Okay. The knowledge and philosophy given me by Dr. Jim Atkinson, an intelligent spiritual being, together with explanations of phenomena, principles resolved from causes, effects, powers, laws, and utility, appeal to my reason. The method by which I obtain an explanation of certain physical phenomena from an intelligence in the spiritual world is known in biblical language as inspiration. In a great measure, the Chiropractor Adjuster was written under such spiritual prompting. Okay, I'm going to stop there. Now, who would like to go? Anybody have any input on this section?
Nobody wants to go. You go.
Dr. Jim Atkinson was not alive at the time, okay? D.D. received this message, as he said, from the spirit realm. Now, who's done any history on Jim Atkinson? Anybody?
Yeah.
There's been quite a bit. Barry, you have any? You want to share a little bit?
Jim Atkinson, I believe, was the popular bone setter. And my mind is on your response about this. I'm going to relate it to this. We all have had a family member that's transitioned to the spiritual world. And we have all felt like grandma, grandpa, Uncle Bob, Aunt Susie, whoever, fill in the blank, fill in that name, has talked to us after they transitioned. And if every human being has had that experience, which is part of humanity. I do not know of a human being that has not had that experience of somebody in the spiritual world talking to them. And Dr. D.D. Palmer was very in tune and was around him in the times before. And I don't see this as odd at all. And I know it's been blasted in the past at being odd and woo-woo that he received, quote, the word of chiropractic. He was inspired by it. And it correlated with his studies and his journey. He was 50 years old in 1895 when he put this together. So I hope that somebody in the spirit world had reached him by the time he was 50. And I'm glad it happened.
Now, the wee voice within is what BJ called his inspiration, getting messages through innate. Dr. Sid Williams told us he got a message. He had a dream of a gingerbread man running with an arrow through his atlas, and he realized atlas is the way to go. We've all had those inspirations, waking up in a moment. I've got to jot that down. I get them all the time. I don't have names of in the spirit realm. That's what his thing was. He called it inspiration. When we're inspired, means the definition of that is to bring in spirit. We can't forget about those things. And it's not, I don't think it's hokey at all. I think it's awesome that he had the huevos to say, you know, this is where I am. And I'm telling you guys the truth, you know, and I think it's incredible. Go ahead, Alan.
I think that a lot of people resist that information when it comes through to them. They're not willing to acknowledge it. That, you know, I think that those of us on this call have all learned to try to be in tune and accept messages when they come through, whatever the source is. But I think a lot of people are afraid or don't understand or resist. I don't know that I've got direct messages, although I know that I get inspirations or get thoughts and dreams. But I also know that not infrequently for me, it's happened more than once, that I'll go to a funeral, or in Judaism, we go to Shiva house. We go visit people after their relatives have died for 7 days. Shiva is 7 in Hebrew. And I know not that long ago, somebody that I knew in elementary school and had known for a long time, and she was my wife's doctor and medical doctor. And I had known her mom passed, and I went to the Shiva house, and I'm sitting there during the service that was there, and I know that the mother was in the room. I knew where she was in the room, up above us, and watching what was going on. I didn't communicate with her. She didn't communicate with me, but I knew I felt her there. I knew it was her spirit that was there.
Oh, yeah,
and you have to be willing to accept that. You have to be willing to say that is going on before you can allow the communication to come through, that you can't block it. And I think most people are not willing to accept those things when they come to them.
Steve,
they've been trained by science to say it's not real. And that's a lot of people in our profession say that, and that's what happens here with Steve Atkinson, that people say no, and it's yes.
Stephen, go ahead.
I have a question, and I'd like to know, what is a thought?
You know, BJ posed that exact thing. Where are thoughts? And he did it in volume 33, Fame and Fortune, one of the last chapters. Where are thoughts kept? Where are memories kept? And, you know, we could think of the Akashic record, all things known through the universe when we pull out of there. But, you know, really, that's that spirit within. Who knows? We don't really know.
So besides that question, what is a thought? I can think of, let's say the color red in my mind. You can't see with a microscope red inside of my brain. I've also listened to Bruce Lipton, and he talks about that on the outside of our cells are these kind of like satellite dishes that receive something from the environment, and that gets transferred and communicates into the DNA, into the cell. So we're talking about a broadcasting station, God, that BJ talked about. So I'd like to hear what you guys think. Break down the idea, where ideas come from. Is
Well,
there
let's
a
keep it
broad,
chiropractic for now.
is there a broadcasting that Lincoln's mind is still existing? And
Yeah.
is there a broadcast called Lincoln? Is there a broadcast
Steve,
called your
Steven,
mother?
let's focus on chiropractic. We can get an esoteric theories, but what is this?
Well, we're
right
talking
here,
about
chiropractic
Atkinson.
itself?
We're talking about Atkinson, and
Yeah.
I thought, I didn't mean to get us off track.
That's okay. Barry, go ahead.
Yeah, I got this. I got 5 thought flashes here. Stevens is going to go here. So, and Higgy, we're talking about this inspiration, these thoughts. So BJ Palmer had a special typewriter where it was continuous roll. So when he had thought flashes, he would just go and type. He didn't have to waste time of getting off that train of that thought that came to him in the middle of the night at 2:30 a.m., at 5:30, whatever. He was up before 5:30, sorry. But anyway, he had that typewriter that did that. And then there's also a picture of him that shows the dictation, like the tube that he spoke into. So these inspirations came to him, and our developer, BJ Palmer, had this design. And what's interesting about this concept is you're asking a philosophical question, and then you want science to prove it, Steve. So what is a thought? A thought really is words. How we communicate is strictly words, but then you're trying to find it. And that's science. And that's like what we're talking about here. This information came, the complete information came from Dr. Jim Atkinson to Dee. So in the science world, when they hear that, sometimes they shut that off. But BJ Palmer also wrote about this, guys, and talked about this. You can ask somebody, a scientist, and I relate to people at the practice if they're engineers. There is a force inside this body of yours that's running it, whatever you want to call it. And if you want to put a belief in that or you don't believe it, my question is this, and BJ would say this. Do you go to the synagogue? Do you go to the church? Do you go to the temple on the weekend? But yet you ignore that force, that intelligence throughout the week. But on the weekend, you're admiring it in whatever division of religion you are. And then also with the rabbi and inspired, I have been to a couple of shivas. They're both chiropractors. And the last one was Dr. Affelblad. And I go and sit by Dr. Andy Roberts' tombstone, which is close to my house here. And I receive inspired thoughts from his spirit nonstop. And that's my thought. Those are my thoughts.
Well, those are good thoughts, all of them good thoughts. The reality of it is we don't know, right? But it's already there. And I like to think of it in the spirit realm. And what I've realized reading BJ Palmer is BJ Palmer really was training us to think in the spirit realm, thinking innately, getting out of the educated and allowing innate, which is spirit, to communicate through us. That's what most of his writings were. They weren't in setup and technique. There was a lot of that research and it was absolutely amazing, but most of it was getting out of our own educated way. Why would you get out of your own educated way? Is to allow spirit to speak through us, to have our thought pad, our THOT pad next to our bed, to put that in when you have that message and you let it go.
So hey, explain to the audience what THOT is.
Why don't you give me your explanation then?
Easy. You take the UGH, the UGH out of it, and I believe I got that. I believe that was from Fred Barge. You take the UGH out of it. Take the struggle out of it. It's a THOT. And right, and I remembered what I was going to say. The Shiva, the rabbi told me. I went up and talked to him afterwards because I was inspired. Here's this word again from the previous two, because I had never been exposed to Shivas. And he said this, Hobbs, when you have a thought of this person, that's like receiving a text message from them. That's like, or in beeper time, that's like receiving a beep from them. That, and according to your context of what's going at that time is their message to you. And usually you're on the right path or they're thinking about you. But the rabbi had said, that's like receiving a text from the spirit world to you. I know you love it, Steve.
I think it's tuning the radio to the station.
You have to be in tune to receive the signal.
You have to be
There we
willing, you
go.
have to
Good
be in
one.
tune. You can block it or you
And
cannot.
it has to do with the word resonance.
Okay. I like it. You know, we are tuning in and we are jamming. Let's go to the next paragraph. What do you guys think?
Good.
We read it last week. I'm reading it again because it's so important. The object of chiropractic education is to attain the information concerning the origin, development, structure, and functions of our physical organism, the phenomena of physical earth life, and that of spiritual existence. And these are acquired by observation and demonstration. Now, I think that's such an important thing, and I'm reading it again because it's spiritual existence, part of our chiropractic education. It's a hard concept. You know, when I was in school, is what they did was replace chiropractors who taught us the sciences, and they forced we forced the schools to have PhDs to teach us the sciences, where we lost the understanding of a chiropractor's perspective in the sciences. And that's a sad thing. And that pushes out the spiritual even more, if you ask me.
Can you read that sentence slower again? That last sentence.
Object of chiropractic education is the attainment of information concerning the origin, development, structure, and functions of our physical organism, the phenomena of physical earth life, and that of spiritual existence.
That's the bit. Is he making a distinction between earth life and spiritual existence?
Yes, that's the material and the spiritual. The earth life is all the things we mentioned just before that, and that of spiritual existence. So the earthly and the immaterial and the material, the spiritual and the material. That's how important it is. These are acquired by observation and demonstration. Chiropractors declare that God is the all-pervading intelligence, that each individual, segmented portion of spirit is a part of that intelligent creative principle. That's innate intelligence. I'm saying that myself. That's not from the book. And that only matter changes its form. That spirit modifies its environment. Okay? And dissolution is but a process of reproduction.
Haha. That's a hell of a sentence. That last.
That's a hell of a sentence.
Say that last few words of that last sentence.
Chiropractors declare that God is the all-pervading intelligence, that each individual segmented portion of spirit is a part of that intelligent creative principle. Now, I'm just going to go back. There's a semicolon. The intelligent creative principle, God is the all-pervading intelligence. Each individual segmented portion of spirit is a part of that intelligent creative principle, which there he's talking about innate intelligence or spirit, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that only matter changes its form. Make sense? That spirit modifies its environment. I never thought about it in that way. And dissolution, I'm not sure what that really means. Maybe we should look that word up. Is but a process of reproduction.
That's the part right there.
So
Dissolution is a part of reproduction.
So spirit modifies its environment. Innate is the adaptive force in a living thing. Is the way I read that.
Sure, I see that.
The spirit modifies the environment. So that's the spirit. The spirit is a part of the intelligent creative principle and then he says that only matter changes its form, and then says that spirit modifies its environment, that matter can change, that spirit in living matter allows that change and adapts to the environment that it's in. Then dissolution is but a process of reproduction, is the what do I want to say? everything that it's a continuing process.
Well, is he
That
talking
our
about?
body is the dissolution of this particular physical is only part of an evolutionary process that goes forward. Dissolution is a process of reproduction that things have to break down to build up.
Was he talking about when our bodies deteriorate, it becomes fertilizer?
Any living thing.
Shift in energy.
There's
Yep.
there's a spirit in all living things. There's even spirit in there's some organizing force
In
of
atoms.
universal in all
In
things.
atoms. Yeah, in atoms.
Right?
It's a
You know,
closing down.
the wood of my desk used to be a living tree. It can't adapt anymore, but it's
You know what I
still
don't get?
maintains its shape as wood.
Definition of dissolution.
I don't
This-
know. I don't know whether this is chiropractic. You might want to censor this, but I recently watched Our Universe, narrated by Morgan Freeman, and it talks about how stars get so dense right at the beginning of the universe, it compresses hydrogen atoms so hard that they become elements. Now, how
Well,
can
that's what
that
that-
happen?
that-
How, wait a second. How can that happen without an intelligent God? How can you squeeze a hydrogen into making it helium? How does that happen? We don't know.
Let me give you this also. You know, how can you be a part of this whole thing and not, I mean, chiropractic itself, without giving that there is, chiropractors declare that God is the all-pervading intelligence, that having that higher spiritual consciousness, and that God is that architect of what you're talking about.
That's
And
it.
the magnificent of that,
There's no
amazement.
science can't explain. They go, this is what happened, but they don't know how atoms get compressed and change.
Right. They have no clue. They
No,
have no
but
clue.
we say there must be an intelligence that's behind it. And when we really get that, then we can practice chiropractic with our hands, communicating something else. We are now at a resonant level with the source of creation, because it's the source that turns this body into a living body, these cells, these chemicals. What are you, like $7 worth of chemicals? Is that all you are?
Who knows?
All
You
the
know,
atoms in your body came from those stars you were talking about.
Yes.
you know, that amazement, you know, getting to that level of amazement of this amazing body. You know, we have two awesome new chiropractors in my office, you know, young guys. And, you know, the main thing that we're communicating to them and adjusting is the adjustment comes through us. When it's coming from us, that's the punch in the back or whatever you're feeling. That wasn't quite what I'm really looking for. But when we're clear and that adjustment flows through us, it's not coming from the physical body. It's coming through us. And I really feel when we're a clear and hollow vessel, God's serving his people through us.
Well, I
Barry,
think that
you have
we've
something?
all found that when we adjust, it's one thing to say you get a listing from an x-ray. But first off, you're not taking an x-ray every time somebody walks in your office. But even with that, I think that at least those among us have learned that you learn to feel and find where and the perfect direction to put that force in, to allow the force to flow through you. There's a moment where you know now's the time to thrust as you're palpating and you feel and you're lining up and you go, that just feels right. It's an innate communication that goes on at that point. The body says yes, and you say, okay, let's go.
Words mess things up, because when you say through us, it's almost like a direction, when actually what happens with an adjustment is there is a recognition of what is, and it's everywhere. It's coming from inside the patient, through you. It's a entering into a beholding. This is it. I always attributed the healing, you know, like who was it? Remling used to have God heals. I moved the bone, God heals. the actual resonating moment is where the source is. And it's not us.
Well, both of these men, BJ and D.D. Palmer, both said the adjustment doesn't come from us. We deliver the influence. Innate does the adjusting. You know, we deliver that influence. I see the body more as a lens to bring things more into the finite, right? Or our innate would just be out through the universe, which, you know, it is, but we're in that finite thing, just like D.D. Palmer just said, within our own individual God. God is individualized within us, I should say. And the adjustment being, I see it as the lens, is that laser focus now through my pisiform or wherever it might be coming for you. That adjustment is magnified and refined into something absolutely beautiful, far more than my physical body can do.
You know, Heg, you had mentioned this is a transfer of energy, and I had posted this past week that this is 13.9 billion years of intelligence that came before us, that's inside of us as well.
Yeah.
And that transfer of energy, and when you're in tune with that, it will connect with you as well. So I've given up. I was the curious George kid growing up. Why, right? And that was the science, that research. However, the why will drive you crazy. We are a blip, a little bitty blip in the big why of whatever creation is going on. I would suggest this: just be.
Be, do, have, just be. Being. Thank you for that, Barry. Absolutely poignant words. Anybody else before I should just finish this paragraph? I'm rocking and rolling.
And it
I feel like
connects
I'm
to that
getting adjusted.
dissolution is the reproduction, right? This is what we're talking about. This ties that in.
Absolutely, it does. Absolutely. I love it. This is a great discussion. This is why we're doing it. I want to discuss it. Thank you, everybody. Chiropractic science elucidates the problems of life, gives us the incentive to human endeavor and the agency by which sin, the violation, willfully or accidentally, of moral or natural laws may be eradicated by appropriate adjustment of the neuroskeleton. You know, thinking more clearly, we take better actions.
Whew, this is huge. This elucidates the problems. He finally is connecting. Wait, there is a power source and it will open up within, whether you are sinfully doing it or not. And Nate is going to take over and run the show, whether you believe in her or not.
I'm looking up elucidate. For me, it sounds like, you know,
Explains,
bringing more light to
sheds,
something.
sheds
Right?
light on, explains,
Yeah.
elucidate.
Okay. Elucidate. That's what I would expect that to mean. You're magnifying and showing light on, you know, those problems. It elucidates the problems of life and gives us the incentive to human endeavor. It's the inspiration. What do you guys feel? Carol, do you have your hand up?
He's connecting it. He's connecting this here. This is universal to now, you know, the elucidation, the shining the light. Here is our science. This is the connection. We finally have that spiritual realm into the scientific realm, which he explained earlier about the neuroskeleton, the anatomy. And as you become more efficient with the science and the philosophy, they work and they jive together in unison.
There was something just recently, I think it was Todd Waters posted about BJ Palmer and something about efferent and afferent innate. And, you know, that's early in BJ's writing, volume 2.
Innate nerves and yeah, it was that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. You know, that I was looking at that and I didn't really want to, I wasn't going to post, but I thought about this. That was very early in BJ's writing, volume 2. You know, really, I think volume 1 mostly came from D.D. Palmer, the 1906. but I'm going to look that up. I want to read. I was thinking about reading it today, but I didn't pick it up to get it ready. But I'm going to read the last paragraph. Anybody else have any other bits on that? There's a lot going on there. All right. The cumulative, oh, no, I didn't finish. Okay. Chiropractic elucidates the problem of life, gives us the incentive to human endeavor, and the agency by which sin, the violation, willfully or accidentally, of moral and natural laws may be eradicated by appropriate adjustment of the neural skeleton. The cumulative function pertains to intelligent growth, whether sane or insane, as we retain the mentalities and carry it with us to the great beyond. Only that which we mentally gather. It is necessary. In fact, it is a religious duty so to care for our physical beings that our intellectual attainment may be at the very best. And he said this multiple times. What we learn in this realm, we bring into the next. That's probably spiritualism in the work that he was doing. Stephen, go ahead.
Listen to this one sentence on page 67 on the bigness of the fellow within.
Go ahead.
Any and all, quote, research, unquote, and theories trying to explain how the body alone creates function chemically without an innate intelligence lead to false premises, no matter how many believed either premise, no matter how much legislation is passed to enforce such beliefs, no matter how many books are written along those lines, or how many colleges teach such.
I mean, that's it. Absolutely. Read that again.
I cut the first sentence. Any and all research, quote, and theories trying to explain how innate alone creates life without a body in which to do so, or any and all research, unquote, and theories trying to explain how the body alone creates function chemically without an innate intelligence lead to false premises, no matter how many books, legislation has been passed.
Now, we read in the volume 39, and BJ spent $200,000 in 20 years of research of how to measure innate, because any experiment you're doing that you're not able to measure life itself is basically useless. It's a variable you're trying to hold constant, and that's such an important factor. Where are we doing it in modern science now? I mean, when we talk about scientific research, BJ was at the cutting edge of that. Go ahead, Stephen.
And on the bottom of the previous page of the bigness for page 66, I don't know who Thales was, Theles. I guess he was a Greek philosopher. I don't know. But it says, chiropractic for the first time since Thales studies living man as a unity of innate intelligence and his body.
Beautiful.
This is not new.
Nope.
So, hey, guys, I want to really highlight something that he said here. Dee said moral or natural laws may be eradicated by appropriate adjustment of the neuroskeleton. This is Dee admitting and being humble that us chiropractors cannot guarantee any results. Doctors, no human can offer you results. We can give you, because here's this, our philosophy is 100%. Universal intelligence, innate intelligence is 100%. Our science based on the philosophy is 100%. However, what we are discovering is 0 to 100%, right? Our technique, some techniques are more efficient at quote things than others, right? So you can increase that efficiency. And what he's saying here is that although this is 100%, this is how the universe works, when you put it in action, it may be eradicated. This is the humbleness of Dee that people overlook about chiropractic and also Dee. He's just saying, connect these two and this may happen.
Now, I just looked up the definition of sin. Give me 1 second, Stephen, because, it says an immoral act considered to be a transgression against divine law. That's not my favorite definition, okay? Here, he's really talking about, after he says a human endeavor and the agency by which sin, and then this next part is kind of the definition of that, the violation, willfully or accidentally, of moral or natural laws may be eradicated, right? That's what that definition he's defining. And I think that's a better definition, really, okay? And may be eradicated. Wow.
So,
I mean,
so
go ahead.
So on this research and looking up these words in our dictionaries, usually the modern word is there, and then there's the Old English. And back in those times, look up the Old English. Look up at the latter part there. So great job, Haig. That's a trick in studying and doing research and history there.
Right. And you know what? And using, Wikipedia and the phone is what I did. It's the worst dictionary ever, I have to say. I have my big giant dictionary I'm in love with, but you don't get all the word origins unless you really look for it now. But you're right about that. And thank you. Pasquale was really big on that too. Stephen, go ahead.
Listen to the commitment here and the stance. This is the last paragraph of what I've been reading. He talks about lesser, smaller fellow being the educated mind, the science without innate, here it is, any theories advanced by the lesser small fellow in support of its claims to being the greater big fellow. In other words, any kind of postulation that leaves out innate as part of this reality will be false, misleading, unreliable, unstable, transitory, unfounded, and unworthy. That takes balls.
That does.
No, he's calling a spade a spade.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that you know how to squeeze two atoms together to create, human beings. Come on.
Yeah. It's beyond our intellectual concept to be able to understand things. We don't need to, I've gotten past that. I've got to know. And the being, just like Barry said before, I'd much rather be in a state of bliss than to be in a state of knowing. There's a big difference in that.
The worst
Steve,
the worst neighborhood in the world is between your ears. Be in the world. Do not be in between the ears.
Get
Well,
out of the head.
Get out of the head. That's the cumulative function pertains to intellectual growth. Whether sane or insane, we retain our mentalities and carry with us to the great beyond. Only that which we mentally gather. It is necessary. In fact, it is a religious duty to so care for our physical beings that our intellectual attainment may be of the very best. That's the last paragraph.
Oh, he's
That's the
not
last
talking
paragraph.
about adjusting the world. He's talking about getting into the heart of the matter.
He's saying for us, right?
Yeah.
He's saying us, not the people you serve. He's saying with us.
What is the heart of the matter?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
The heart of the matter. What a great way to put it.
And you're taking this from one realm to the next. Okay. That's pretty big concept right there. This is also why this is the most controversial chapter in all this isn't even a green book. It's not in the green book list, okay? But we're talking about concepts beyond the, what do you say, the testable. We can't, the prove it to me. This is on faith. What do you guys feel? We got a lot out of this one, man. I love it. I know I went back a couple of paragraphs, which we're doing because we still get more juice out of this lemon, and it's awesome. And this last paragraph was like, boom. That's why we save it for last.
Because
BJ
he talks a lot in his life about he'll be on a train and something tell him to get off the train. We've all had that.
Absolutely. I built my entire my first office was built in 1917, and I only hired people that I felt we were in tune. I was doing things in a spiritual way, and it all worked perfectly. When I broke that system, things fell apart and I had to do it again. So, and it came from spiritual messages. And I'll tell you a weird one. I mean, I woke up in the middle of the night and I said, I got to get to the Restore. The Restore is the Habitat for Humanity.
Yeah.
They're a resale shop. And I
Repurposed.
I got, $1,000 windows I got for $100 each. I had a dream. I just had to go, but I learned all those teachings from BJ's writings, really, of following your innate, trusting that spirit, taking action. Those are the big ones. That's what I learned. BJ, mostly all those volumes were really him understanding it himself for us to use for our lifetime. That's our playbook.
Didn't BJ hang out with Mesmer?
I don't know. Barry, do you know that, Alan? I don't know anything about
Say
that.
again?
Mesmer.
I don't know.
Mesmerized, right? Mesmer.
The guy that,
I'll-
that guy,
I'll-
I thought he hung out with him for a while.
I'll answer this, Steve. BJ was extremely busy. BJ really didn't hang out with one person for too much time.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's a busy dude.
Didn't he also go out? Yeah, he went to India and then those places. Thailand.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been my honor because I absolutely love this. We had a great discussion. I have grown as a man, a father, a server of chiropractic, and a husband just from reading this. Because I respect my temple more and respect the other temples that we come in contact with. And I respect the God within with all of them. And, I really am happy all of you are here with us and everyone that listens in and watches in.
I
So-
feel more resonating with innate because of this meeting,
Sure.
with the core, with the cause, with the heart of the matter.
Sure. Well, time for a shameless plug. So we're in Spartanburg, South Carolina, February 4th. We're going to do a philosophy meeting February 3rd. If anyone on this podcast comes, I'm going to have you as a speaker on the 3rd. So if you'd like to come, you come to the seminar for free. And anybody, Carol, I was going to talk to you. I'm going to send you a message after this. Okay. Everyone, God bless you. I love you. It's 2023. Thank you for reminding me to do that, Alan. And this was a great night. And I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Good night.
Remember to post a connection next week for people.
You know what? I need some help doing that because I'm running out of time and steam myself. Barry and I talked about a little bit of those things, but because he's been coming up with cool memes lately and some fun stuff, but we'll talk about it later. I just need some help. It's time to get some help. Okay. Good night, everybody.